Hi everyone, my name is Erin, if you did not know that. I am going to post these videos on my YouTube page. I do plan on making a podcast though at some point, maybe about this. It just depends on how well it goes over and how many people get interested, because I really don't want to waste people's time or waste my own time. So it has been brought to my attention numerous times by different people that I should start a podcast of crochet, and also while I crochet, they want me to talk about deaths or disappearances that happen on a cruise ship. So my goal is every week come up with a mysterious either death, a murder, a disappearance that could have happened on a cruise ship, and just talk about that while I crochet. I was down for it. I said I'll give it a try. So my goal today is I am going to talk about the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. If you don't know who that is, you're living under a rock. Like, I'm just going to say it, you're living under a rock. Even if you do not cruise, you should know who Amy Lynn Bradley is. It's quite the story, the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. Normally, you would hear about it on the news, articles, documentaries. This did happen in late 90s. I was about I was 3 going on 4, because I would have turned 4 in July, and she went missing in March of 98. So, for this video and podcast, I'm just going to call it video podcast. I haven't decided a name yet for it, but for this video, we're going to talk about Amy Lynn Bradley. I'll probably do another one later of her as I get going, but I'm just going to give it a try and kind of see how it works out. So for this video, we are going to be talking about Amy Lynn Bradley, the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley, everything that's happened so far, and then also I'm going to crochet during it. So for those of you that do not know, Amy Lynn Bradley did disappear on March 24th, 1998 aboard a Royal Caribbean ship. It was the Rhapsody of the Seas. It's still in service today. People still cruise on it today. And if you're lucky enough, maybe you'll end up in the suite balcony that she was in when she went missing. Okay, so for starters, Amy Lynn Bradley. Now, this case was brought to my attention back when I was about 15 years old. I read about it online when I was doing like an article research for school. And I remember reading about it, and I remember thinking like, wow, like she's really pretty. And now Amy was a very pretty woman. Very pretty woman. She was 23 at the time when she went missing. And I remember a lot of people like freaking out back in the 90s. Now, I don't remember when it happened per se. I was 3 going on 4. Obviously, I did not remember that, but I remember even in high school people talking about this, and how scary it was at that time when she went missing, because a whole lot of things had happened, and it was really weird. Like, it was really weird. Like, for instance, there was this things that had happened on the ship directed at Amy before she went missing, and then like after she went missing, a lot of people claim that they had seen her like out like on the island that she went basically missing around. So let's do a deep dive into the Amy Lynn Bradley case. Okay, so Amy Lynn Bradley, her father had gotten a all-inclusive free cruise sail thing from his employer. Okay, so it was for his wife, Amy, her brother Brad, and himself. Okay, so those 4 hopped upon the ship, and Amy at the time, I always know in the articles that I've read, now I could be wrong. These videos aren't to sit there and say that I'm always right about everything, because I'm not always right about everything, and I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. And for starters, if you haven't liked and subscribed to this video or this channel, please do so, because I'm going to do more of these. So Amy was kind of hesitant, from what I understand, about going on this cruise ship. She was afraid of heights, and also she was kind of worried about the size of the ship. Ultimately, she was worried. However, She was really excited though at the same time, because I mean, who wouldn't be excited? Being able to go and spend time with your family. Now, she was in college. Now, she had just, I believe, graduated from Longwood University, and she had just graduated. I heard from what I've heard and read, she was getting ready to start a new job, so this was like a great opportunity for her to hang out with her family before she really jumps into the new job, which was something to do with computers. If I remember right, she was getting ready to start a computer job somewhere. So she's 23 years old. She has a lot going on in her life. She's a beautiful young lady, a bright future ahead. She gets offered to go on this cruise with her family. You know, who's really going to say no to that, you know? So here's the thing. On her disappearance. Okay, let me get started. So, like I said, her father had won an all expense paid family cruise from his employer. And she joined the family on Royal Caribbean, okay? Okay. Because if my dad won an all expense paid cruise, you bet you I'm going with him on the cruise ship, okay? So, on March 21st of 1998, Bradley and her family boarded the ship. On March 23rd, Bradley and her brother Brad stayed up late dancing and drinking. And we all know drinking late at night leads to trouble sometimes, depending on where you're at. However, they were dancing and they were drinking with the ship's band. And at the time, they were called the Blue Orchard, something like that, at a disco party, okay? Now, she was dancing, Amy Lynn was dancing with a guy named Douglas. He went at the time by the name Yellow. Like, my name's Yellow. I'm so cool. Like, come hang out with me. My name's Yellow. Like, if a guy came up to me on a cruise ship, and even if he offered me a drink and said, my name is Yellow, I would not hang out with him. Like, if you can't give me a better name than that, bye. Even though I'm married. But, like, I'm so cool. My name's Yellow. Okay? Now, this guy. Now, let me tell you, I did a deep dive a while back on this guy. He is now a born-again Christian, and he doesn't go by the name Yellow anymore. He's on Facebook. I've seen his Facebook profile. But he won't tell anybody about what happened, what he knows. And I believe that he did something to Amy. I think he drugged her. Because the rumor is that she got drugged and trafficked, and she disappeared that way. So basically, she got sex trafficked by this guy, and who knows who else on this cruise ship. Okay, so rule of thumb is it's okay to be nice to employees on a cruise ship. The crew members, they're great, especially nowadays. They're great, but always be careful though, because like, especially young ladies, be careful, because you don't really know who you're getting involved with. You don't really know that person. Like, you may think you know that person, but you really don't. And I feel like this is a situation for Amy where she put her trust in him a little bit too much, and it kind of got her like disappearing. Like, I don't want to sit here and say because of her she got what she got, because that's not true. But I do think that she put her trust in him, and he knew all along what he was planning on doing, So remember the name Yellow. Okay, he's going to come up again. So, or no, his name wasn't Douglas, it was Alistair. Alistair Douglas. Now, funny enough, Alistair, I guessed if that was my name and I was on a band on a cruise ship, I would definitely say my name is Yellow, but I would still come up with a better name than Yellow. Anyways, so there was a guy named Chris who was a video photographer on the cruise ship who actually recorded Yellow and Amy Lynn dancing. So there is a clip out in the universe. If you get on YouTube, type in Yellow and Amy Lynn Bradley dancing, it'll pop up. There is a video of them dancing together, okay? So we see that, I believe it was March 23rd she was dancing with Yellow at the club. Okay. Now, I've read that a lot of people thought that Amy was very beautiful. A lot of people commented on how beautiful Amy was on the cruise ship. Not just crew members, but guests as well. Apparently, from what I've read and seen, a lot of people seemed obsessed with Amy, with how beautiful she was, because she was a beautiful young lady. However, it was just a little weird because people made it seem like people were obsessed with her on the ship. You know, they made it seem like they were very obsessed with Amy. So she is dancing with this cool guy named Yellow on the cruise ship. And basically her brother leaves because I'm guessing he got tired and wanted to go back to the cabin. You know, preach your own. I personally wouldn't have left my sibling at a party on a cruise ship by themselves, especially after they've been drinking. However, it was the 90s. They're on a cruise ship. In his mind, he probably thought, what could hurt? Like, she ain't going nowhere. It's fine. But, so, after a couple hours, he returns to the cruise cabin. However, Amy followed about 5 minutes after. Reports say that she had followed about 5 minutes after he had came back to the cabin. So, Brad says that they had stayed up for a little bit while they were staying up to talk about life, I'm assuming. So this is about 3:35 a.m. They stayed out on the cabin talking. And I mean, when I talk to my brothers, you know, we talk about life or what we have going on. So they were probably just talking like siblings do. So he went ahead and went in and went to bed. So from my understanding, Amy stayed out on the balcony because at around 5:15 to 5:30, her father woke up, Ron. His name is Ron. He had woken up and looked out on the balcony. He didn't open the door or anything like that. The door was shut. He had looked out on the balcony and saw from the hip down, he had saw Amy laying out on one of the chairs, on the folding chairs, or, you know, lounge chairs. So he didn't think anything of it, which, I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't have either if I saw, like, if I saw my sibling out there sleeping or laying down, I probably wouldn't think anything of it either, considering the fact that they're just probably out there taking in the ocean or, you know, the breeze or whatever. So, essentially, he didn't get up. He just saw her legs, you know. Okay. Now, when he got up at 6, so this is between 5:15 and 5:30 in the morning. He saw her out on the balcony. When he got up at 6, she was no longer on the balcony. Mysterious? Yes. So, he couldn't find her. And she was missing off the balcony along with her cigarettes and lighter. However, her shoes, now this is what I've heard, her shoes were still on the balcony. So it'd be like she got up barefoot and walked out the door with her cigarettes and lighter and just left, okay? So 6 o'clock rolled around and he gets up. He can't find her anywhere. Her shoes are out on the balcony. Her lighter and cigarettes are gone with her. He woke up the rest of the family at 6:30 to report that Amy was missing. So this is 6:30 in the morning on April. So it looks like, or not April, but March. So on March 24th, he woke his family up at 6:30 in the morning to let them know that Amy is missing. He can't find her. Okay. There were 3 witness claims of Amy's that they had seen her on the upper deck with Alistair, Mr. Cool Yellow Dude. So apparently she was seen, supposedly, with Yellow on the upper decks between 5:30 a.m. and 5:45 a.m. Okay. Now, this is roughly after the time that her father said that he had witnessed seeing her out on the balcony. So he saw her about 5:15 to 5:30. So from 5:30 to 5:45, she had supposedly went out with Alistair, aka Yellow. Okay. So, sorry, you guys can't really see my crochet stuff. And I'm making a basket, by the way, if you guys didn't know. I'm making a basket. So, these were 3 witnesses. So 3 people are saying that they claim to have seen her with Yellow on the upper decks, hanging out, doing God knows what. They were probably hanging out, talking, looking over the balcony, whatever. Now, in my thought process to this all, because this is just all my thoughts and processes of this, I have a feeling that Alistair was really smooth with the ladies. He knew how to really talk to them. He knew how to kind of gain their trust to have them go with him or do whatever he wanted, you know. And now, mind you, he's a Christian now. You know, he's reborn Christian and all this stuff, okay? And I will throw in there, he has a daughter. All right? He has a daughter. So think about this, Yellow. If that was your daughter and she went missing, how would you feel? Like, straight up, that was always what I wanted to know. How would you feel? Like, you're literally, like, involved in taking this guy's daughter. Like, what if this was your daughter? Like, and I know at the time he probably didn't have his daughter. I mean, he might have, but at the time, like, this is crazy to me. Because I always think about that, like, thinking about other people. Like, that's always someone's child or sister or uncle or aunt or grandma, whoever. Like, how would you feel if somebody did this to your daughter? Like, how would you feel? I really wish he would answer that, because obviously he wants nothing to do with this. Like, straight up, people have bugged him and bugged him and bugged him and even reached out to him, and he will not answer any of it, and he just doesn't want to be involved. And I just want to be like, bro, like, you have a daughter. And even his daughter, like, I'll just say this, his daughter is in the new Netflix series about Amy Lynn Bradley. It's called Amy Bradley is Missing. It came out last year in 2025. It's on Netflix. His daughter is in it. And she even gave if I remember correctly, she gave, like, the cops information that she knew of this situation. Because apparently at some point, and I can't remember the logistics of it, but I know at one point he had mentioned it to her mother, like to his daughter's mom, about Amy. He had mentioned something about Amy, or had like a picture of her, or the mom found like a suitcase full of pictures of her or something like that. So like they both like went to the cops about it. So good choice on your end. Like, good, great job. Like, I'm very proud that his daughter did that, you know, because, you know, children tend to follow in their parents' footsteps, I feel like. But with her, that girl's going places, especially if she knows what her father has done is wrong. But my thing is if Yellow did not take Amy, did not drug her, did not kidnap her, that's fine, whatever. He still had a part of it, because he's the one that lured her in. He's the one that gained her trust, that brought her around, and now she's missing. Okay? And I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions at the end of this video. But, okay, so we're back at it. So 3 witnesses claim they seen Bradley on the upper deck with Yellow between 5:30 a.m. and 5:45. Okay? They also testified to seeing Douglas hand Bradley a drink containing dark liquid. At this time, they claimed Bradley and Douglas arrived in the elevator at the same time, and that Douglas was seen then leaving the upper deck alone shortly after 6 a.m. So between 5:30 and 6 a.m., he was seen with her on the balcony, gave her a drink, entered the elevator with her, and then he got off the elevator and was seen on the upper deck alone, all within 30 minutes of the witnesses' claims. They also testified this, okay? Now, the search investigation. Now, this part really makes me mad. Like, I get it. We're on a cruise. The cruise can't stop for everybody. And, everybody. And, you know, and I get it. And this part makes me so mad. So, basically, the family can't find Amy. They're begging, you know, they're at this point begging the crew members and even the captain not to let anybody off the ship. Now, they were getting ready to port, or they had already been ported, and they're getting ready to let people off the ship. And I believe they were going to I don't remember. It was like not Cancun, but it started with a C. But they had basically begged her parents, or no, her parents basically begged the crew members and the captain not to let anybody off the ship, because they were already docked basically, and they were going for a port day, because I mean, this is like 2 or 3 days into the cruise. And they were like basically begging them not to let anybody off the ship. Like they were like, I need to do a search of my daughter. She's missing. I need help. Please don't let anybody off the ship. Blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I'm sure they made announcements of like, Amy, your family's looking for you. Amy, please come to blah, 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 because your family's looking for you. Blah, 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 blah. Now, my thing is, what gets me is this family begged crew members and the captain not to let anybody off the ship. The captain's search, his search, was asking the crew members to go into their rooms and check to see if Amy was there. Now, Yellow. You really think Yellow's gonna go into his room and be like, Amy's in my room! Oh, she's right here! No! Like, honestly, come on. Like, if a crew member's in on this, they're not gonna openly be like, yeah, she's just hanging out on my bed. Like, or, oh, I have her in a freaking cart in my room. Like, why did the captain ask their own crew members to look for themselves? I feel like they should have had a clean sweep of the ship before everybody got off. Now, mind you, they let everybody off the cruise ship while this is going on. Like, they didn't ask anybody to stay on the cruise ship. They let all the guests off. So, mind you, now Amy's missing. And if a guest had done this, they already took her and ran away with her. Like, they let them off the ship. And now, you know, crew members, they get off the ship. So my theory on it is, on this part, is that Yellow and whoever else was involved took her in like a laundry hamper basket, wheeled her off the cruise ship after they drugged her, and now she's sex trafficked. That's my theory at this point. Caicos? I think they were in Caicos. I don't remember. But, sorry, that is like randomly came to me. So, basically, her family reported her missing to the onboard crew and pleaded with the crew members to keep the 2,000 passengers from dismarking the cruise ship. And they wanted to make an announcement to assist in finding Bradley. Now, like I told you, they did not at all really assist them. And even if you watch the documentary for the Netflix documentary, even the captain's on there and he's talking like it was no big deal. Like it was just a Friday afternoon to him or a Thursday afternoon to him or whatever. Like, he made it seem like it was no big deal that this lady is missing. Now, mind you, this is like crazy to me because the family begged them not to let anybody off the ship to search, and the fact that he really had the crew members going into their own rooms to search for her, that just blows my mind. And then not only did they beg them, the team at the office informed them that it was too early to make a ship announcement, that it would disturb the guest. Now, I tell you what, if I'm on a cruise ship and a young lady is missing, an older lady is missing, a young man's missing, you bet your dollar I want you to holler, like, legit, like, yo, on that announcement. I don't care if it's 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. If someone's missing, I want to know so I can maybe hopefully be a part of it and help look for them, okay? That's just me. Okay. So, well, this is going to be kind of small. Okay, so they're not making an announcement. They think it's too early. All right, great talk, Royal. The crew agreed to issue an announcement at 7:50 a.m. after a majority of the passengers had left the ship. Okay, here's Amy missing. Oh, y'all have fun. Get off the ship. It's fine. This lady's missing. It's fine. We'll find her. Like, what? Like, I don't get it. Okay. Now, they literally asked between, like, at some point in the morning, can Amy please come to blah, blah, blah desk? Yeah, like, she's just gonna get up and walk straight to the desk. Like, she's missing. She's been missing since, like, what, 6 a.m.? Yeah, she's just gonna straight up come walk to this desk and be like, hey, guys, I'm right here. No. So, now it's, like, 12:15 to 1 p.m. So, I don't even know how many hours now she's been missing. But it's funny because now the crew is like worried and they want to search for her. Like now they want to search for her. The delay in launching of an immediate search has been called a mistake that could have hurt chances of finding Bradley. You don't think? You don't think? Now, I understand to a point that sometimes you're on the cruise ship and you can't find your other, okay? Or your sibling, whoever you're with. You can go to guest services, and 9 times out of 10, they make an announcement, they come to the guest services, you found them, great. Obviously, this wasn't the case with Amy, so I feel like there should have been more of an investigation going on. I feel like they failed her to find her, honestly, and it breaks my heart. I feel like they failed to find her, the crew members. I feel like they failed that family. Because you have witnesses saying that she was with Yellow. And you have the information that the family is giving you. This isn't just your normal, oh, hey, I was at the bar getting a drink and my sister went to go use the restroom and I haven't seen her in 3 hours. That's not, in my opinion, that's not how this should have, like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, it just, with everything leading up to it, I feel like they should have took it more serious than just like, oh no, everybody get off the ship, everything's fine. Oh hey, Amy, if you're here, come up to the desk. Or oh hey, crew members, go check your own rooms. Like, seriously? Okay. So, Brad, her brother, recalls that Douglas, so Alistair, Mr. Yellow Dude, came up to him shortly after Bradley's disappearance and said, hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your sister. No announcement had been made by that time, mind you. No announcement about Bradley, nothing. So this was before all the announcements were made. This was before, like, I'm assuming they let everybody off the ship. He literally walked up to the brother and said, hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your sister. And if I was the brother, I'd have been like, what do you mean you're sorry to hear about my sister? Like, what are you talking about? Like, homie, Yellow, I don't like you. If you're ever watching this video, I don't like you at all. No. So, no announcement had been made at that time when Douglas literally walked up to Bradley, and said, hey man, sorry to hear about your sister. Now, the FBI interviewed Douglas after and gave him a polygraph test. If you don't know what a polygraph test is, it's a lie detector test. And supposedly, supposedly it got reported by Royal Caribbean that Douglas passed the lie detector test. Now, I still think he has something to do with it. That's just my opinion. That's just my thought. He has something to do with it. Like, come on. Even if he didn't, like, wasn't the one that took her off the ship, I still feel like he has something to do with it. I think he had her put her trust in him. I think that he sugared her up. I think that and you know, the sad thing is I think there was more than one person that had done this. I really feel like it was more than obviously one crew member. But, you know, it's all sad. But apparently he had passed his lie detector test. Now. Ron, which is the father, had said that Douglas came out of the interview smiling with his thumbs up to the bandmates. Like everything was cool. Okay? Like he knew what was going on and that he knew he had been with Amy. Okay? But the sad thing is, Yellow, I'm going to make fun of him. I hate that name now. Every time I think of the color yellow, I'm going to think of him and I just want to smash his face in. Oh my god. Okay, anyways. He apparently denied knowing anything about Bradley's disappearance. How do you not know anything about her disappearance? Obviously, you were the last person to see her. You were the last person that was with her. Like, obviously, you know something. Like, you had to have known something. Okay? Okay. And my thing is, after all this had happened, the Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard conducted a 4-day search that ended on March 27th. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines chartered a boat to continue looking for her. Now, there are speculations that she jumped overboard. She ended her life. Some people say she committed suicide by jumping overboard. Things like that. However, I've learned that Amy was a strong swimmer. So I personally don't think she went overboard. I truly don't think that at all. Some people said maybe she hated her life because it was reported that she was a lesbian. However, I believe at the time of her disappearance, she had a boyfriend. So basically, she had a girl, from what I understand from the Netflix series, is that she had a girlfriend at one point. They broke up, but they were still in contact with each other, and she had a boyfriend at the time of her disappearance. I don't know if that's 100% true. I don't know. But a lot of people speculated that she committed suicide, that she couldn't live with herself being a lesbian, which I don't think that's a fact. A lot of people have said she was tired of life, so she jumped overboard, committed suicide, whatever. Some people say that she fell overboard on accident, because her cigarettes were gone, but her shoes were still on the balcony. However, so they had to take everything into consideration with her going missing. So, I mean, and I get it. They also wanted to look at all the facts. So they had their little boats out there looking for her. And they came back empty. Now, like I just said, initially the authorities suspected that Bradley had either fallen overboard or died by suicide. However, investigators said that there was no evidence that Amy, a trained lifeguard, perfect at swimming, fell overboard, was pushed, or committed suicide. Okay? Now, so this is a crazy thing. Okay? So she's missing. Obviously, the cruise has to go on. They have to, like, have all these other people on board the ship, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, they take the ship back to, where it started, at the port in the United States. Everyone gets off the ship. Everything's sad. I mean, realistically, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, everything's great, because obviously it's not great. I remember reading, or not even reading, I remember watching the Netflix series last year of Amy Lynn Bradley, and there was a scene in there that her mother had her suitcase. Now, this is a suitcase that Amy packed, had her suitcase in the house. She hadn't opened it since this all happened. And when she opened it, her clothes still smelled like her. And her dad had her car in the garage all fixed up, ready to go for when she decides to come home. You know, and it's really sad, you know, and I'm like over here trying not to get teary-eyed, but it's really sad because I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like if that was my family member, like, I just don't even know. So, now, it's been a month since Bradley's been missing, back in 1998. So, this would put us in April. There was a possible sighting of her 1 month after she went missing. Her family did travel back to the island to look for her a couple times, and they were approached by a cab driver who claimed to have seen Bradley while the ship was docked on March 24th. He said Bradley was running through the parking lot in search of a phone. He stated he remembered her green eyes, which was described on the reward poster. Now, she had green eyes, and I'll post a photo of her on this video, after this video. She had short hair, green eyes, darker hair, and she had Tasmanian devil tattoo. Now, he said that she was running through the parking lot in search of a phone. Now, if I've been abducted and I need a phone, obviously I would do the same thing. Now, if this was the case, if she really did run through that parking lot, I can't imagine, like, the fear going on. Like, I can't imagine, like, what was supposed to be so fun for the family turned into a freaking nightmare. You know? And in August of 1998, so here's another sighting. 2 Canadian drivers claimed to have seen a woman they believe to be Bradley on a popular island diving beach known as Playa Morto Marie. Witness David Carmichael claimed that a woman matching Bradley's description was in the presence of 2 aggressive men. One reportedly fitting Douglas's YOLO's description. Go figure. Supposedly they saw Yellow with her. The witness yelled out to a friend, asking if he had a piece of his dive gear. The woman, believed to be Bradley, upon hearing the man speaking English, reportedly spun around and came back towards him. The witness then claimed that the man resembling Yellow came into his field of vision and motioned the woman away to the beach bar. Carmichael claims that the woman would occasionally look at him and then look down, appearing to try to give him subtly communicate with him. So, like, she was, like, supposedly, like, looking down at him, like she was trying to communicate with him. Because obviously she's in trouble. Obviously. The witnesses were 2 feet away from the woman and accurately described Bradley's eyes and tattoos, the Tasmanian devil tattoo that I just talked about. Carmichael recognized Bradley after seeing her photo on America's Most Wanted and stated, "I am haunted by the encounter with Amy. I know it was her." He later phoned Bradley's father and flew to Virginia to meet the Bradley family. Okay, that's where they lived. It was in Virginia. Now, the FBI investigated, and that the reporting sightings were unable to something the claim. So basically, they said, "That sucks. I can't take the claim and verify that, that it's accurate. He could be lying for all we care. For all we know, this dude could be lying. But yeah, Yellow, he's totally telling the truth." So lastly, there was a couple of other sightings that I had learned throughout the years. But lastly, a sighting that was reported was by a Navy guy. Okay, this guy, like, this sighting made me so mad learning about it. Like, I have never been mad before in my whole life. So this sighting, he says that he was at a brothel on this island, okay? Navy guy, brothel, that don't mix. And he's saying that this was in January of 1999, so about a year after Amy went missing. He claims that he ran into Amy at the brothel. She told him that her name was Amy. She's American. She's from, I believe, she told him that she was being held against her will. So the woman explained her situation, telling him that she had been on a cruise, had disembarked to seek drugs, and was now trapped in an establishment. So she said she got off the ship to look for drugs with these people. Now she's sex trafficked. She even told him where she was from, that her name was Amy. She needed help. He did not go get help. He didn't tell anybody. No one. And then years later, they went back to this brothel to find her, to look for her, and the brothel had been burnt down to the ground. So this guy put his career before possibly helping Amy. And so that was also a possible sighting. There was another thing where a woman said that she had witnessed seeing Amy in the bathroom. She had been crying. So that basically her and her husband were vacationing over in the island. She was using the restroom. This lady had came in, looked just like Amy, had a tattoo like Amy, and she had been crying. And like 2 guys came up and snagged her and made her run away or go away, you know. So essentially this lady said that she had seen Amy in a bathroom and on this island crying about something about kids, like, from what I understanding, like, you know, do what they say and I can see the kids. So here it goes. In the fall of 1999, Bradley's parents received an email from a man named Frank Jones. Frank told the family that he was a former U.S. Army Special Forces officer with a team of experienced soldiers. Now, this guy had said that his team has seen Bradley being held by heavily armed Colombian personnel in a housing complex surrounded by barbed wire. The team also gave an accurate description of Bradley's tattoos and sang the lullaby that Bradley's mother used to sing to her. Over the next few months, the Bradley sent Jones a total of $210,000 to fund a set up to search for her. This was a fraud. He took the money. He took the money. It was a fraud. He did it for the money. He took the money. He used this family and took their money. He lied about saying who he was. He ended up being not at all who he said he was. He ended up pleading guilty. It went to court and everything. Now, in April, so this was in the fall of 1999. In April 2003, a witness reported seeing a woman matching Bradley's description in California, watching a street musician in the company of 2 men. The witness asserted they immediately recognized the woman as Bradley. Upon realizing that they had been identified, the 2 men reportedly seized her and fled the scene. Okay? She pleaded, casting a pleading look to the witnesses as she's been taken away. The FBI sketches were released of the men who believed to be Bradley at the time, or who believed to be with her at the time. Now, this is the one that I was just talking about, the woman that says she saw her in a bathroom. So in March of 2005, oh my gosh, 2005. So this was what, like 6 years after she had been missing? A witness named Judy claimed to have seen Bradley in the department store restroom in Barbados. She said she was using the restroom when a woman entered accompanied by 4 men who were discussing what sounded like a illegal deal. She said the woman at one point asked the men if they could stop by and see the children. It isn't known what the children were being referenced to, but she claims at the point the men left the restroom and she exited the stall and spoke to the woman. She said she believed the woman said that she was from West Virginia and softly said that her name was Amy. She later told authorities and they created compensated sketches of the men and the woman based on her account. Okay? They appeared on Dr. Phil trying to find Amy, things like that. So basically, this is like really, 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 really crazy. So if you go online, there were images emailed to her parents at one point of this sex worker looked just like Amy on a bed posing with her top off, and they were sent to her parents. So it says Bradley's parents appeared in 2005 on Dr. Phil. During that episode, an image of a woman resembling Bradley had been emailed to her parents and was shown on the program. Okay? Now, the 2 photographs were discovered online by a member of an organization that attempts to traffic victims on sites that feature sex workers. The woman in the photo had been said to appear distraught and desponent and was a sex worker known as Jazz. The photos could not be determined by the FBI. We did follow the lead. The difficult part is back then, information such as that or the pictures such as that, you can't tell when they're altered. A man who worked with the FBI performed facial comparison, and his opinion was that the photographs were of Amy. Okay? So now her parents are literally getting sent pictures of possibly their daughter being sex trafficked in this island. And it's just crazy. Now, I believe the latest was that in 2010, a human jawbone washed ashore in Aruba. It was thought to be the jawbone of another missing person, which was Natalie Holloway. She went missing as well overseas. It determined that it did not belong to her. No DNA or other testing was done that could have established a connection to Bradley. Although the remains were said to be likely from a Caucasian woman, Bradley was declared legally dead on March 24th, 2010, 12 years after the disappearance with no witnesses and no body found. Now, there are theories. Now, I'm going to quit crocheting for the moment because I'm just getting too into this. Okay, so there are theories that one of the most popular theories was that she was kidnapped and sold into an illegal human trafficking industry in the Caribbean. There was, based on the account of Hefner and the photos that was emailed to Bradley's family. This theory also includes suspicion of the cruise ship band members on the night that Bradley disappeared. The conflict between the stories that bass player Douglas, which is YOLO, gave the authorities compared to what the CCTV footage says. Claims have also been made that the waiter on the ship could have been involved in Bradley's disappearance. Throughout the night, Bradley's family was approached by a waiter asking to pass a note to Bradley for him, inviting her to go for drinks with him once they reached shore. In addition, there was, which I was going to get to next, which I'm going to just jump right in it. There was a professional photographer on the ship that had printed out all the photos taken throughout the cruise ship to sell at the stall. But the family could not find any of the Bradley photos. So before this all was happening, none of the family could find their photos. So like when you're on a cruise ship, you go up to a crew, like there's like a photography stall that you can purchase your photos, you know. So they went over there to get their photos and all their photos were gone. All of them. All of Amy's photos gone. Okay? So this made the family believe that the photos had been removed by someone. Was it YOLO? Was it someone else? Like, we'll never know. Like, somebody obviously took her photos, but who was it? Okay? Another theory was considered by authorities was that Bradley was murdered on the ship and thrown overboard. Now, the only evidence supporting this is the discovery of the jawbone that I talked about. However, like I said, the falling overboard, suicide, that's all a theory. There is a theory also that her brother did it. There is that theory. However, I don't think the brother did it. I really don't. I really think that actually, let's go ahead. Now that I'm done talking about this, let's go ahead real quick, and then I'll get off here. Let's talk about my theory. So, I believe that YOLO, this Alistair Douglas YOLO dude, gained her trust, and between the photographer and possibly the waiter, and him, and the bandmates, whatever, I feel like he drugged her with the drink that the witnesses said, and he literally got her off the ship somehow, and now she's sex trafficked. Now, this was in 1998 when she was 23. She'd be like, what, 40s, 50s now? There are theories that that was what happened. They probably killed her, you know, but she's no use to them now. She's older, you know. But if you haven't watched the Netflix documentary, definitely do so, because there is a group or two men that created a website to help track Amy. Now, my theory is that she did get sex trafficked. I believe she's still alive. I think she has kids. I think she's scared to come home because of what could happen to her, her family, and kids. It's crazy to me because the website that they had brought on for Amy, there's clips of her childhood and also like clips of like every Christmas of her family. And it's crazy because they did say that they're able to wire, because the whole point of it was to wire to figure out where like the IP address was coming from. And they did say that there is one IP address that comes from that island. And that IP address will sit on family photos for hours on hours on hours. Like, you just need to watch the Netflix documentary. But they said that they traced an IP address from the website back to where she went missing, and that IP address will sit on that website and look at her family photos for hours. And I really think it is her. Like, in my opinion, I think it's her. I think she's out there somewhere and she's like really kind of scared to come back to her family because of everything that's happened, you know. And she might be getting threatened. Who knows? But I do think that she got sex trafficked. And I do think that Yellow definitely has something to do with it. Sadly. And yeah, so tell me what you guys think, because this is a crazy one. And if you've never heard of what happened to her, like, definitely do research on it. Watch the Netflix show Amy Bradley is Missing. It's crazy. Like, it's just crazy. Crazy to me. But yeah, that's my theory, is that she got sex trafficked. Oh, my dog's coming. That she got sex trafficked. And real quick, I'll show you guys a picture of her. So basically, this, my dog. Okay, hold on. My dog is like legit. Hi, Cece. She actually comes in. I'm about to let her in. Okay, so this is Amy on the left. This is her on the cruise ship. That was taken on the cruise ship. That is one of the pictures that got sent to the family. So that was one of the pictures that got sent to the family through email. And then that was her, that was taken on the cruise ship. So you guys will have to tell me what you think. Ultimately, I think she got sex trafficked. She fell for it. I think that they could have easily told her, like, oh yeah, like, come with me to get drugs, you know, because maybe she was going for drugs. Who knows? But I really think that she put her trust in people that she shouldn't have, and she got sex trafficked. So tell me what you think. Bye, guys.